Hello, my name is Nathan Antonio. I'm chair of the Effective Meetings Committee for the 46th District Democrats. In this video, I will explain how to vote at one of our meetings, which are carried out on Zoom. First, in order to vote, you must be credentialed. Credentialed simply means that your membership status is reflected in your username. You do not need to do anything special in order to do this, but it does help if you join the meeting early. Joining the meeting early gives our volunteers an opportunity to go through the list and make sure that everyone who is at the meeting has been properly credentialed. When people leave the meeting and come back or join late, it slows down the process. So whenever possible, it's helpful if you join early and stay in the meeting. Credentials, like I mentioned, simply indicate your membership status. Because different votes may be open to all members and PCOs, but other votes may be just open to PCOs, it's important to have your credential status reflected properly. Our meetings are also open to the general public, and per our rules, people who join within a certain amount of time of the meeting may or may not be able to vote. The specific rules about who is eligible to vote and for what kinds of votes are available in the bylaws and standing rules of the organization. Very briefly, I will talk about the credentials that are in use by the organization. Again, you do not need to worry about these. Our volunteers will apply these credentials to your username. As you can see, a star before your credential indicates that you are a member who is eligible to vote in general. What follows, the letters, indicate your precise membership status. So PCO stands for Precinct Committee Officer. These people are able to vote in every type of vote. PM stands for Paid Member, which just refers to a general member who is not also a PCO. Paid members are not able to vote in all kinds of votes, but are able to vote in most kinds of votes. The remaining credentials are for either people who are members but are simply not eligible at the specific time in the meeting, or who are members on an honorary basis and thus not able to vote, or people who were members eligible to vote but are no longer because they have not renewed, because they have not paid their dues typically, or guests. Again, a star before your credential indicates that you are eligible to vote. If you believe that your credential status is not correct, you can contact one of the support volunteers via chat during the meeting. They will help you figure out whatever may have happened. Finally, in order to be able to vote, it helps if you have your voting code on hand and ready to go. It simply speeds up the process if you have this information available. I'll talk more about voting codes in a moment. An additional note, because our meetings are conducted on Zoom, if you are unable to join the meeting via the app on your phone or using Zoom on your desktop computer, and instead you are only able to join the meeting by dialing a phone number to listen to the proceedings, we do not have a ready way of allowing you to vote. If you believe that this will be your case for a meeting that you wish to attend, meaning for whatever reason you don't think you'll have steady internet access, or you won't have access to a device that has the Zoom app on it, and you'll only be able to join the meeting by dialing a phone number to listen, please let us know as far in advance as possible of that meeting, preferably at least 48 hours. This will give us an opportunity to figure out some alternative method by which you can vote. Otherwise, you will simply not be able to vote at the meeting. We conduct votes via two different methods with our organization. First, I will discuss what are called non-balloted votes, or else called reaction voting. These votes do not require you to fill out a ballot in order to register your preferences. Instead, everyone in the meeting basically puts up a symbol or a reaction, is what they're called in Zoom, to indicate how they would like to vote. This is equivalent to raising your hand or saying yay or nay in an in-person situation. In order to participate in a reaction vote, you'll need to go towards the bottom of your Zoom window and look for a reactions button. The buttons are not always immediately visible in the Zoom window. If you don't see them right away, just hover your cursor over the bottom portion of the Zoom window, and that may make them appear. The reaction button looks like a little heart. If you don't see the little heart among the icons at the bottom of your Zoom window, press the More button, which looks like a circle with 3 dots inside of it. Then in there, you should see a React button. Once you press the React button, whether you find it at the bottom of the Zoom window or in the More menu, you will see inside of there a submenu with a number of different icons to choose from. In a reaction voting scenario, a green check will indicate yes or yay, and a red X will indicate no or nay. Simply press the icon, click on the icon that corresponds with how you would like to vote. You can change your reaction and your vote simply by returning to the icon and selecting the other option. If you need to remove your vote, say if you are asked to do so because perhaps you voted in error and were not actually eligible to vote for that particular vote based on your membership status, you can essentially lower your hand, remove your vote by clicking again on the React button and then simply clicking on the same reaction once again. If you are not on a computer, but are instead on a mobile phone with the Zoom app, the process is very similar. Again, towards the bottom of the Zoom window, you'll see a series of icons. Simply go to the React button. It looks a little different on the phone. It looks like a smiley face. And then that will bring up a submenu with all the different reaction options. And again, you'll press the green check to indicate yes or yay, or the red X to indicate no or nay. The other kind of vote that we conduct are balloted votes. Balloted votes are more analogous to casting ballots in, say, a general or primary election, and they are by their nature anonymous. Our system does not allow people to see how any one individual voted, merely whether they did vote or not. So they are different from reaction voting in that way. In order to participate in balloted votes, you will have to have the chat window open. When a balloted vote comes up, a link to a Google form will be shared in the chat. So to access the chat, you will need to look towards the bottom of the Zoom window once again, and simply look for the button that says chat. It has a couple of speech bubbles on it. In general, you should leave the chat window open throughout the meeting because important information is shared via the chat. And additionally, if there is some kind of problem with your vote or you need help, chat is the way to communicate with the volunteers who can assist you. Once the ballot link is shared in the chat, all you need to do is click on it to take you to the form that you then need to fill out. At the time of making this video, we use Google Forms for balloted votes. If you're on the Zoom app on your phone, the process of accessing the chat is very similar. Again, towards the bottom of the Zoom window, you're just looking for the chat button. And if you click on it, that will open up a little window with all the chats in it. As I mentioned, we use Google Forms in order to collect and process balloted votes. The image you see here is a little screenshot of what a typical sample ballot looks like. There's a number of pieces of information that you will have to enter into the ballot in order to complete your vote. Firstly, you will be asked for your first and last name. If you can, please write these the same way that you registered for the organization, as the system will look for one-to-one correspondence between the spelling of your first and last name. However, if there's any sort of issue or if it's a little off, our volunteers will help make sure that it gets sorted out and your vote is counted. Similarly, you will be asked for the email address that you registered with the organization at. Again, please do try to make sure that you are entering the address that you registered with, but if not, keep that chat open so our volunteers can contact you and work with you to sort out any discrepancy. Next, you will need to enter your voting code. Voting codes are passwords that we generate and send out before every meeting. Each meeting's voting code is different for security reasons. Voting codes are usually sent the night before the meeting. Oftentimes, because we use a mass email service, our voting code emails will go to your spam folder, or perhaps a promotions folder or other folder other than your primary inbox. So if you don't see your voting code right away, check around for it, particularly in your spam or junk folders. After entering the voting code, you'll be asked to attest that you are who you say you are. This is very important because at the time of making this video, the organization's rules do not permit proxy voting. That means other people may not vote on your behalf, nor for that matter, are you allowed to vote on behalf of other people. Therefore, the only ballot that you are allowed to complete is the one in which you enter your own name, your own email address, and the voting code that you personally were sent. You are not allowed to vote for anyone else. Once you have entered your first and last name, the email that you registered with the organization, your voting code, and attest that you are the person listed in the ballot, then choose your option to vote, yay, nay, or abstain, typically. And then, very importantly, you must click the submit button to complete the process. You will not receive an automated email confirming that you have voted, but you will be taken to another screen that says that you have submitted a response to the form. This process is virtually the same on the phone, other than the fact that the screen size and the precise configuration of the form may appear different because you're on a smaller screen. One slight tweak to this process is endorsements. Endorsements are a special kind of vote, and our system treats them differently. It's much easier to, quote unquote, spoil your vote in an endorsement situation. So I will explain how to avoid spoiling your vote. In an endorsement situation, there could be any number of candidates or positions on an issue appearing in the ballot, in addition to the option to vote for no endorsement. In an endorsement vote situation, you may indicate your preference for as many candidates as you like, but you may not also choose no endorsement. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of our system, it will allow you to choose candidates as well as the no endorsement option. However, that is illogical and it doesn't work. It will spoil your vote. So again, the key here is you can choose as many candidates that you approve of for endorsement as you like, but you may not also select no endorsement. If you do not want to endorse any of the candidates, you must select no endorsement and then no other candidates. Essentially, these are the general options for what your ballot can look like. So on the left, there are submissions that will work. You can choose candidate A, candidate C. You could choose candidate A, B, C, and D, as long as you leave no endorsement unchecked. Or you can choose no endorsement, but then you cannot select any candidates. On the right, you see a spoiled ballot, and that ballot is spoiled because not only are there candidates selected, but also no endorsement. Again, that is illogical. So one more time, in an endorsement vote, you may pick as many candidates as you like, but not also no endorsement. If you do not wish to endorse any of the candidates, you may only select no endorsement and then do not click on any of the candidates' names. That concludes my explanation of voting at 46 District Democrats meetings. If you have any difficulty or simply have questions during the meeting, please feel free to reach out to a support volunteer via the Zoom chat when you are at the meeting. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I look forward to having you at the next meeting.